Hello and welcome to another special edition of YAMA News You Can Use, Student Feature Edition. Today we're talking with Aylin Hernandez about what it's like to be in YAMA. Hey Aylin, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, how many years, Aylin, have you been in YAMA?
Like over 4 years already.
So you started when you were almost 12 years old. What did you play during that time?
At that time, I was playing the violin.
How would you say YAMA has impacted your life?
It impacted my life by actually being a little bit more confident, being more talkative, I guess, in some ways, bringing out my opinion, and just having fun.
Have you been one of the students who's been featured at a concert where you got to speak or hold the mic ever?
I have.
When was that, and what was that experience like?
I don't remember when, but I do remember the experience was scary at first. With all the practicing I did, it was scary, and doing it and being there and at the real thing was more scary. But once I actually look at the teacher that helped us practicing, I actually calmed myself down and got it done.
What advice would you give to someone who is just in their first or second year of YAMA?
What advice I will give them is to keep on going. Don't give up. You'll get there soon enough if you keep on trying.
So an interesting thing about you, Aylin, is that you just switched to the bass from violin. Could you tell us a little bit about that transition?
Yes, I have. And this transition since I took almost a whole year off, I was thinking really hard on actually moving to the bass. I was deciding if I should continue with the violin or not. But I made my decision once I finally came back here to Washington to actually move on to the bass. Before deciding, I was talking with Ms. Dumos a lot of if I did got a bass, what are the changes I have to make to be on the bass. Then after since I was in private lessons for the violin, I was listening a lot to Jaden when he had private lessons, and also one time when we went to a school, we were split into groups, and one group got to see a bass sectional at that time.
So you were inspired by Jaden, and then you got to see a bunch of older bass players, and then you made the switch. And how do you like it so far?
So far, it was going great.
Do you take private lessons right now?
Yes, I'm taking private lessons.
Who do you take private lessons with?
With Mr. Moose.
Nice. How long have you been playing the bass after you switched from violin?
Almost 3 months.
Okay, so this is a recent switch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you've grown and ways that you've grown since you started till now in YAMA.
I grew so much by actually being a little bit more mature than I was, actually expressing out more emotions that I couldn't, and I wouldn't have if I didn't join YAMA.
So last question, how do you navigate being so busy with school and then so busy with YAMA? Do you have any advice for people who might be thinking about joining YAMA about how to balance those two?
I really don't know how I balance both of them. I just balance them on the flow.
You just go with the flow?
Yep.
All right, well, thanks so much for talking with me, Aylin. This has been a pleasure. And thank you all for watching YAMA News You Can Use, Aylin Hernandez Student Feature Edition.